Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got another video that's sort of a little bit more on the meta side about, what it's like to be a reviewer, etc., kind of tips for new reviewers. And I wanted to talk today about a very strong force in the life of a content creator, whatever content that is, and that is the pressure to produce new content, right? So, first off, to be very clear, I'm a very lucky man. I got Patreon patrons who support me. I have access to lots of cool gear. I'm not sitting here complaining. This is absolutely a problem of my own making and not such a big problem. But it is definitely something that comes to mind, and it's something that I've noticed has kind of increased more and more of late. And that is, anytime that you establish a schedule, it's not a bad idea to do that as a content provider. But, usually I'll post something new on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, and on Saturdays, right? I'd space it out more evenly if the week were an even number, but it ain't, so here we are. And usually on those days, you'll usually get like a disassembly video and a full review lately. That's kind of been my pattern. But once you establish a rhythm like that, you kind of want to stick to it, right? And, I have the advantage of I built up a backlog. I've got some videos in the can, so to speak, that I can drop on any given week, even if I don't film anything. But the result of something like that, of making a strong content delivery schedule like that, is that you gotta make the content, right? And at some level, that's pretty easy because I love this. I love doing what I'm doing. I love looking at new gear. I love talking about it. I love sharing that kind of thing. This isn't really something that bothers me, but the pressure is definitely a real thing, and it's a thing that can occasionally get kind of annoying. And it can happen in a couple of ways. I mean, to start with, there are times when the reviewing itself doesn't permit easy, going. For instance, okay, this right here is the CRKT LCK 2.0, or the LCK Plus, I suppose. This is their newest version of one of their very, very good budgety knives, the LCK, and this is a new assisted variety of it. We'll talk more about that later, but I don't expect this to be a knife that takes too long to review. I think I'll carry it, I'll get a sense, and especially because I carried its, older brother, so to speak, the original LCK, I feel like this one won't take me all that long. And I can contrast that with this knife right here. This is the, both of these guys. These are the Terrain 365, the Invictus AT-STS or something along those lines. And then this one down here is the Terrain 365, I think, Otter. But these knives are not actually using steel. And no part of this knife is steel, at least... yeah, not to the best of my knowledge. This is using Teravantium. Teravantium it's a dendritic cobalt, basically, is what the rest of the world calls it, but they call it Teravantium. And this functions very differently than steel. Carrying this guy, and a fair amount, has reinforced to me that this is not the same thing as steel. It is completely and totally rust-proof. It cannot rust. And it is very different in that than it is in, like, the LC200 and Vanax, which are steels that are just very, very stainless. This is like chemically rust-proof, but it just acts differently. And so before I say anything about it, before I give a yay and nay sort of thing, and give my thoughts, I want to actually really know how it works. I want to know how it performs, and that means I got to carry it a lot. And when I carry it a lot, I'm not carrying other things. And so these two reviews are going to take me freaking forever relative to anything else I've done on the channel. Similarly, if I'm about to say very nice things about something, I want to spend extra time with it. If I'm trying to decide, hey, wait, is this a gem here? I want to make sure, this is the TRM Shadow for what it's worth. I want to make sure that I actually mean, hey, this is really great before I say that. I want to give it the time to make sure. Because I don't want to just throw out, gem status like nothing. And then there are times where I want to check the long-term durability of something. This is the CRKT Bonafide using the field strip technology like they had on the home front, but this is the second version of it. So you slip this guy up here, and then the knife disassembles itself in your hand, and then you just put this back together like so, and you put the tab down there, and the knife is fully reassembled. That's pretty neat. And actually, the knife is pretty neat, but in order for me to really get a sense of whether this is worth a damn, I'm going to need to carry it. I'm going to need to use it. I'm going to need to beat on it a little bit to get a sense of whether this system is going to work as well in practice, in use, as it will on day one. And so as a result, these guys are going to take me a little while. And whenever I'm doing that, it's like, I should probably be filming content. I'm watching the buffer shrinking. But I also know that there is, in order to do my job, so to speak, my hobby, which turned into a job, right, I need to actually, I need to take the time. So that can be a source of pressure. The other thing that can come up, and I've talked about this before, but there are definitely weeks where it's like, oh my God, I'm not feeling it, right? Whether it's because, oh my God, look at the world right now, or because, oh my God, any other thing. Just a rough week. Those are kind of things that make it very hard to film something and make it so that if I were to film something, it would be, well, probably not as good a quality. Well, okay, not as good quality, he says about my channel. Okay, it would be an even lower standard than you've come to be used to. And then, of course, the other thing that comes up with this, and this is going to be familiar to anybody who works from home, so to speak, is that you never really leave work, right? At any given moment, I could be sitting on the couch with my wife, watching freaking Great British Bake Off or whatever it is. It's not a bad show right there. But anyways, Paul Hollywood his bread reviewing skills are just on freaking par. One of these days, I'll see him dump a good, great, bad, and the ugly. That'd be stellar. But anyways, I digress. I'll be sitting there on the couch with the wife and be thinking to myself, oh, I should be writing a review right now. I should be thinking, because I just see the pile of stuff on the edge of my desk and I see it growing metaphorically. And even when I try to, similarly, I'll just be sitting there and like, oh man, I've kind of got a bit of a Sunday. Work has calmed down a little bit. I wish it had. But anyways, I got a little bit of time off. Yeah, maybe I should play a video game. Maybe I should play some Hades. That's a game for the Switch. Actually, pretty good game, although and rock hydras. Anyways, I digress. And then I'll think to myself, well, wait a second. No, you should probably be writing reviews because you got a channel. And this can produce a pressure, and this pressure can be very burnouty. When I talk with some of my fellow YouTube buddies, so to speak, and I'm not going to drop any names because they didn't consent to this, but nonetheless, when we talk in our secret cabal chat, so to speak, this often comes up, kind of the feeling of, oh God, I should be filming something, but I don't not feeling it, but I should be doing it. And it's a thing. So, as you're thinking about YouTube, like whether it's some, when I hear a lot of people, hey, Nick, I'm starting a new channel, what's some advice? One of the things I want to, piece of advice I want to give you is figure this out, right? Figure out where your line is. If you're going to do a consistent content release schedule, yeah, maybe not a great idea. And be prepared to have a little bit of that pressure going on in your life. In my case, I'm established enough that if I missed a week or something like that, it probably wouldn't sink the channel, right? And especially if I can make other videos like this that, by the way, I'm going to do as an extra slot because I don't know. But nonetheless, it's something that you kind of have to be aware of. And it's something that can definitely lead to a little bit of feeling of burnout. Like, wow, I really am just looking to do something else with my life right now, but boy, I'm not sure I've got one in the pipe for 2 weeks from now, so to speak. I don't know that I got a video ready. And that can be a little tricky, right? That can be something that's problematic. So again, this is not a woe is me. This is not but this is just sort of the behind the scenes, right? There are things that are very slow to review. Watches take longer for me to write than pocket knives. And similarly, things like packs, can take a long time because I really got to spend a lot of time to get a sense of how they work on a daily basis. Sharpening systems, etc. You can control a lot of that by saying, basically not taking stuff in that you don't think you're going to be able to get to in a reasonable manner, which I definitely try to do. But it's just something you got to deal with. You got to keep in mind that you got to know is going to be a thing if you're going to jump into this business, so to speak, or hobby, or whatever the heck this thing is called. But anyways, so I am working, right? There are definitely, I take days off on occasion. I feel a little guilty about it each time I do, like, damn it, people are paying for my time here. But at the same time, nonetheless, it is definitely something that I think you should keep in mind that it's something that, if nothing else, as you're talking with other content creators, or frankly with me, just remember that at some level, why isn't there a video this week? Well, because who knows what went on this week? It could have been a rough week, right? It could, and so have a little bit of compassion there. And by and large, people are great about it, but it's something that I think you should definitely keep in mind, and it's something that you should definitely consider. So, anyways, I hope this was at least remotely interesting to you, and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.